This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you. Funding for this program is provided by the Santa Rosa Island Authority, located on beautiful Pensacola Beach, Florida, featuring a wide variety of shopping and entertainment venues, fresh from the Gulf seafood, spectacular lodging, brilliant white sand beaches, and wildlife encounters. Pensacola Beach, waiting for you and your family to explore.
They are an essential part of our underwater ecological community. Some are fairly new to their undersea home, while others have been submerged for hundreds of years. From fishing fever to diving adventure, these haunting structures casually dot the desert landscape of Pensacola Bay and the Gulf of Mexico. And if you happen to find yourself craving some underwater adventure off the northwestern Gulf Coast, you'll discover them right in your own backyard. The waters of Pensacola Bay and the Gulf of Mexico have long been a destination for explorers, mariners, and tourists alike. This delicate habitat has weathered hurricanes, oil spills, and boat travel for countless years. What you may not know is that beneath this water's surface lie hundreds of structures, resting silently, waiting for us to pay them a visit. But when and where did it all begin? How did all of this stuff get here? Was it on purpose or by accident? Our first clue is here at the Fort Pickens Museum at the west end of Santa Rosa Island, where a University of West Florida summer lecture provided some answers as to what lies in Pensacola Bay.
All right, well, thanks everyone. Thanks for coming out and spending your Tuesday mornings with us. So let's get started. So really, before we talk about shipwrecks, I always like to talk about ships and what a ship is. And I love this quote from Captain Jack Sparrow. This is the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and he says, "That's what a ship is, you know. It's not just a keel and a hull and a deck and sails. That's what a ship needs. But what a ship really is freedom." And I think that's an interesting way to think about ships as bridges to the past. Because you can also think about shipwrecks in a similar way. A shipwreck is not just ballast piles or timbers or fasteners or artifacts. That's what a shipwreck needs. But what a shipwreck really is clues to the human past. And as archaeologists, that's what we're after. We're not after the things, we're after what those things can tell us about the people who made and used them.
We're told that there were hundreds of ships that sunk in Pensacola Bay, creating some of the largest artificial reefs in Florida. Now, some have been raised or salvaged to help clear navigation routes, but many others remain.
They're what we call kind of a microcosm, a little piece of the culture that created it. In many ways, they're kind of the only time capsule that we have. A shipwreck is usually one catastrophic moment in time. It's what archaeologists call a closed context. It means that there's not artifacts from other cultures and other time periods all mixed in there, which can be very confusing. We know that all those things on a ship were in use at that one moment.
Close to 40 have been located, and local archaeologists are always searching for new sites, from muddy rivers to the clear Gulf. State and federal law protect these areas, and scuba divers are encouraged to visit, but to leave the wrecks untouched so they can be researched and enjoyed for years to come.
Well, a big part of who we are is our history, our culture. It's the story of the people that are associated with these shipwrecks. Who were they? Where did they come from? What did they do? It's just kind of fascinating to learn about these folks.
In the mid-1500s, the Spanish thought the land protection and the deep water that the Pensacola area provided made it a perfect place to establish the first European colony in the New World. So in 1559, the Spanish crown sent 11 vessels and about 1,500 people, led by Don Tristan de Luna, to Pensacola Bay in what was the best funded, most organized, well-supplied colonization attempt to date. They arrived in August, but in September, a hurricane blew ashore and destroyed most of de Luna's fleet. The ships were thought to have been lost forever, until the Emmanuel Point 1 shipwreck was discovered over 430 years later.
We found it in 1992, a project called the Pensacola Shipwrecks Survey, which was a state of Florida funded project to survey the bay for shipwrecks. We located it with a magnetometer, which is kind of a giant underwater metal detector, and discovered a big wrought iron anchor, which is what had triggered the mag, and then also a large mound of ballast, and then underneath the ballast, the evidence of the ship itself. And the Spanish in the 16th century built their ships in a particular way, and that's one of the ways that we were able to date it to the time of the Luna expedition, as well as a wealth of artifacts. Here's those little rat bones again, the earliest evidence of the black rat in North America, right here in Pensacola.
These waters are the perfect place for birds of all types to fly, feed, and frolic, as well as for holding specific clues to Pensacola's infant colonial beginnings. Della Scott Ireton spoke of the time capsule that each wreck provides when discovered. The September hurricane sank 6 of the 11 de Luna vessels that came here in 1559. One was found in 1992. But what about the others?
My name is Greg Cook. I'm a maritime archaeologist at the University of West Florida Anthropology Department. And in 2006, we found the second ship from Luna's 1559 fleet. Students were diving on a magnetic anomaly and found a couple of stones that were exposed, which always piques our interest because historic sailing ships tended to use ballast stone to stabilize themselves while they were sailing. With more investigation, we began to find artifacts, and eventually we got through the ballast pile and found intact hull structure underneath, and that's when we knew we had a second ship from the Luna fleet from 1559. So it was quite exciting. But it's just part of the larger field of archaeology and discoveries, and it's so much fun to work with grad students and undergrad students and see that passion in their eyes, because how many students can say they've had a chance to work on some of the oldest wrecks in the United States? Looking at other wooden wrecks that might be several miles offshore are not preserved to this degree, they're more exposed, so we're fortunate that these vessels sank in a bay situation, a bay context, where they could be buried by sediments.
These 2 de Luna ships were discovered 400 yards apart, creating a potential pattern that may lead to the discovery of the remaining 4. Tides, currents, and storms regularly cover and uncover multiple wrecks in these waters. For example, there's the Santa Rosa Island wreck, a 46-gun frigate that sank in 1705 just northeast of Fort Pickens. You might also find the remains of a British sloop resting off the shores of Gulf Breeze at Dead Man's Island. And across from the Coast Guard station on Santa Rosa Island, the Catherine lies in the Gulf of Mexico in 15 feet of water, brought down by a gale in 1894. Not much remains of these ships, but their storied history lives on. Centuries-old shipwrecks, though, aren't the only sites to visit while diving Pensacola waters. In fact, many of the structures were intentionally placed.
The boats come out of Pensacola Pass to this reef site here. There's also this reef site here. And then we have reef sites all the way out into the Gulf of Mexico.
Robert Turpin is the manager of the Escambia County Marine Resources Division. One of his main duties is to help oversee the design and deployment of the artificial reef program in the area. His permitted work, combined with the help of others, places stable, dimensionally correct structures in well-thought-out locations to attract wildlife and divers who want to enjoy it.
In the northern Gulf of Mexico off of Escambia County, the vast majority of our seabed is sand. And it's very productive, but generally not for the reef species, the snappers and the groupers and the lobsters that we generally want to interact with, either to just go and look and take pictures or to harvest and bring home for dinner. In order for us to provide those opportunities closer to shore, we have to put objects on the seabed to try to replicate the natural rock reefs and ledges and outcroppings that do exist. Generally small areas, far away from shore, deeper water. So what we're trying to do is replicate that natural reef function in closer to shore.
Turpin explains that securing money for these reef projects is a challenge, relying less on local government and more on creative third-party funding. But the return on investment is incredible, bringing in millions of dollars annually to the local economy, with minimal monitoring of the structure once it's resting on the ocean floor.
What we did is we focused on reefs that are close to shore, that are shallow, that small boats and paddlecraft can get to, so that we can hopefully increase the number of days of opportunity for fishing and diving on our artificial reefs.
There are nearly 200 artificial reefs in the area for divers to experience. Many were sunk in the 1980s, but structures have evolved to be more durable and environmentally friendly, with some only yards from the beach.
The Bay Snorkeling Reef is a 100-foot square area that's marked by 4 pilings at the gate to Fort Pickens, at Park West we call it. Literally you can pull up in your automobile, grab mast fins and snorkel or a scuba tank and walk out into waist deep of water, put a mask on your face, swim 50 more feet, and now you're on an artificial reef.
From rock piles in the bay at Park West to this 500-foot rock formation in the Gulf at Park East near the end of Pensacola Beach, Turpin says more responsible efforts are being made to bring in additional wrecks and structures for divers to experience and to help replenish sea life along the Gulf Coast. One of the most popular shore dives in the Pensacola area lies just north of Fort Pickens. Beginning at the shoreline and plunging nearly 50 feet into the bay, the jetties are a favorite due to its close proximity to parking and the variety of creatures that reside there.
There was flounder, grouper, there was a few red snapper, we saw a couple rays, a lot of stone crabs, other crabs, and various other types of wildlife. This is one of the best shore diving in the Pensacola area, in my opinion, specifically because when you drive up, the road is right on the beach. You have to walk less than 100 yards from your car after you gear up to the shore itself. And once you get to the shore, you hit about 20 yards into the water and it drops off immediately to 20 to 50 feet. And there's a lot of fish on it.
The best time to go is at high tide when the current is slow and the site has been replenished with clearer water from the Gulf. If you catch it on the right day, you can enjoy the Navy's Blue Angels practicing for an upcoming air show.
Hey, did we hear the Angels go over when we were under?
You sure did.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The diving community relies heavily on support from those who have an interest in preserving the ecological balance of the ocean. Remember that third-party influence Robert Turpin spoke of? One great example of this is when Frank Patty Jr., a local Pensacolian in the shipbuilding business, decided to take a 200-foot working barge at the end of its service life and transform it into a special kind of artificial reef. One that not only honored local icons, businesses, and residents, but also memorialized friends and family that were no longer here.
I think the tribute really goes to the determination of the Patty family. You know, my grandfather, my grandparents, how they got started, their very meager beginnings, you know, with very little of nothing, you know, and the business expanded, and then the offshoots, of course, you know, the shipyard that my father started, great work my dad does with Joe Patty's, you know, keeps going to the next level every year.
This particular project has been really exciting for me because born on the Gulf Coast, I love the water, I dive and fish, and I love art, and I'm able to kind of combine a lot of these things together. You know, it kind of shows off our local community and also memorializes, you know, people from the area.
The Patty Reef is a way for the iconic figures in our community that have a rich maritime history. These are ways that they can be memorialized in a manner that they want to be, and it allows them to carry on their maritime tradition and reputation and memoriam in the marine environment.
Joanne Crucius came down with family to visit the barge as it was being prepared for departure. She was also there to see a plaque memorializing her son, Bubba Carrick. Bubba passed away in 2012, but his love of the ocean through fishing, surfing, and music is remembered on a marker on the port bow section of the vessel.
He was born and raised here. We lived here our whole life, and we went to the beach an awful lot. And he said that's when he felt the closest to God, was when he was, you know, in tune with that water and playing his music, and he just loved the water.
And so, under a gentle rain, after weeks of delays, bad weather, and a compromised hull, the barge was finally ready for its last voyage.
It's been a historical effort to pay tribute to the history of Pensacola, and if you can see the family members are out here today, their roots go back several hundred years in the community.
Long anticipated wait, the day's finally here, and we're taking all the precautions to ensure that this vessel makes it out there safely. On the county site, Father Johnny has just arrived so that we can say some prayers and bless the vessel so that when she makes it out to the side, she'll be on sacred ground, you know.
The water and the sea, both a symbol of life, death, and resurrection. One of the signs on this reef, on the last day, the Lord will raise all the dead from the sea. This barge is more than a barge. It reminds us of the ties that bind.
We have the reef wranglers here. This is their business to deploy reefs. They're faced up to the aft end, and we have anchors set, so when we get out to the site, they'll deploy the anchors so that the barge will be positioned in north-south, perpendicular to the beach, so that if a storm comes, that it will stay put.
And we wanted to bring this one as close as possible to Pensacola Pass to make it more accessible into shallower water, and this will be one of our shallower artificial reefs.
We're in transit now. Everything seems to be holding up pretty good. The liner that we got, barge is dry as a bone. As they pull the liner out, there are two openings at the stern end of the barge. They have covers on them, so when they're ready, they'll take a chainsaw and just cut the braces, just 2x4 braces across these openings. The panels will drop out, introduce water to one end of the barge, so the barge will go down one end first.
With a pod of dolphins as an escort, the barge made it to its designated site. The holes in the stern were opened and the compartments began to fill. Nearly 20 minutes passed before there was any sign of the vessel sinking. But once water finally overcame the deck, it was only a matter of minutes before the Patty Memorial Barge was gone.
Finally.
And for Joanne Crucius, a memorial for her son in the ocean that he loved.
I know he would be so proud to know that his name and his plaque was placed on this barge with just such amazing people. He was born in Pensacola, he was raised in Pensacola, and now forever he'll be a part of Pensacola.
Local dive shops also benefit from popular wrecks in Pensacola waters.
Good afternoon. Is there something I can help you with?
From equipment sales to charters, the love of diving and favorite dive spots keep many people coming back for more.
We have an awesome client base, local folks from Pensacola, and we have a wide range of people that come down to visit us from all over the world.
You have to have a willingness to work for 7 days a week in this type of business because you never know when somebody wants to go diving. So typically we'll get here on a dive day about 6 o'clock in the morning. Get the boat prepped and ready to go. 7 o'clock everybody gets on board. And sharing the diving is the whole thing. Taking somebody else and letting them see a different world for a short period of time for the first time, and they really get excited about it.
3, 2, 1, let it go.
When talking with locals about wrecks in the Gulf, two are mentioned above all else. The first was sunk in the 1940s and has reached its apex as an artificial reef. The SS San Pablo, also known as the Russian freighter, is a 315-foot ship that rests in the Gulf of Mexico about 10 miles from Pensacola Pass. Lying in 85 feet of water, the freighter has broken down considerably. But the abundance of established marine life has made it one of the most complete reefs in the area.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire.
The USS Oriskany is the largest artificial reef in the world. It is the area's most popular and lies 22 miles south of Pensacola Pass in 212 feet of water. The Navy needed 500 pounds of explosives and 37 minutes to bring the aircraft carrier down in May of 2006. Years later, she has become a must-see for anyone who dives here. It took a monumental effort from many agencies to bring the 888-foot ship to these waters, but as with all reefs in the area, the end results seem to be worth the effort.
Let's say that there was just one reef in the Gulf. Every fish would go to that reef, and every boat would go to that reef to catch them. But if you have 10,000 reefs, then the fish are able to escape and have time to grow up and have babies before 10,000 boaters could go out there and catch them all. So it's the massive amounts of them that's important.
every time I go diving, I see something new and wonderful. There's just so much out there to see. And you know, with the big Gobi Desert out there, all sand, people don't think there's much out there. But when you get out on the artificial reefs, it is incredible.
As I look out over the Gulf of Mexico and I see these artificial reefs, they're like an oasis of marine life around this structure that's placed on the seabed. And to me, that's the most exciting part of this is how we can find a way to maximize our sustainable use of the oceans to improve and enhance our quality of life and also to be a vital part of our economy.
And the fact that in Pensacola we have some of the coolest, most awesome dives in the world are in our backyard. Everyone in Pensacola should take the opportunity to at least go out and try to learn how to scuba dive and get out there and see some of this. It's just the most incredible experience anybody could imagine.
You can visit these wrecks from shore or boat in and around the Pensacola area. Weather and water visibility always play a factor. Coordinates are readily available via websites, or you can contact one of the many local scuba diving shops for guidance and charter information. We hope you've enjoyed this look at some of the local underwater reefs of Northwest Florida. We'll see you again next time, right in your own backyard.